The moment you realize this, something inside you goes quiet. That restless confusion, that endless replaying of conversations in your head. Because the truth is, you were never stupid. You were just playing a game without knowing the rules. And once you see the rule women never explain, but always follow, you stop getting played. Not because you become colder, but because you finally see clearly. Welcome to Female Code Unlocked, the place where attraction is decoded, not romanticized. If you're ready to understand women on a deeper psychological level and protect your heart while doing it, subscribe now. Because once you see this, there's no going back. Here's the truth most men learn too late. Women don't fall in love with words. They fall in love with emotional positioning. How you make them feel about themselves when they're with you. You thought consistency was enough. You thought effort would earn loyalty. You thought being available meant being valued. But deep down, you felt it. That subtle shift. One day she's warm, curious, leaning in. The next, distant. Slower replies, shorter smiles. And you're left wondering what changed, when the real question is what stayed the same. Women don't play men they respect. They play men they feel emotionally above. Not smarter than. Not better than. Above. The moment she feels she can predict your reactions, control your emotional temperature, or sense that you're more invested than she is, the dynamic tilts. And attraction doesn't die loudly. It fades quietly, disguised as confusion. Think about it. The men who get played the most are often the ones with the purest intentions, the ones who listen deeply, who show up consistently, who give reassurance without being asked. And that's what makes this so dangerous, because the very traits you thought would protect you are the ones that expose you, not because they're weak, but because they're given without boundaries. Women are emotional strategists by nature, not out of cruelty, but survival. From a young age, they learn to read emotional environments the way men read physical threats. She notices shifts you don't even realize you're showing. The hesitation in your voice, the urgency in your texts, the way your energy spikes when she pulls away. And unconsciously, she learns where she stands in your internal hierarchy. And here's the uncomfortable part. When a woman senses that she is your emotional center, your mood, your peace, your self-worth, she stops feeling chosen and starts feeling responsible, and attraction collapses under responsibility. That's when the games begin. Not because she's evil, but because the power imbalance invites it. She delays replies to see if you'll chase. She withholds affection to test your emotional control. She gives mixed signals because mixed signals give leverage. And every time you over-explain, over-give, or over-pursue, you confirm what she already suspects, that you're more afraid of losing her than she is of losing you. You weren't played because you trusted her. You were played because you abandoned yourself. The men who don't get played understand one thing most never do. Desire thrives in emotional sovereignty. When you enjoy her, but don't orbit her. When you care, but don't cling. When your life is full enough that her presence enhances it, but her absence doesn't destabilize it. That balance is felt instantly, not logically, energetically. A woman can sense when you're centered, when your attention is a choice, not a reflex, when your affection is grounded, not anxious. And in that space, games lose their power because there's nothing to pull on, nothing to manipulate, nothing to control. This isn't about becoming distant or cold, it's about becoming solid. Because the moment you stop chasing emotional certainty from women, women start feeling uncertain about losing you. And that's when respect enters the room. You feel it when the shift happens. The dynamic reverses so subtly that most men miss it. The texts feel lighter. The conversations breathe again. There's less tension in your chest, less urgency in your fingers. And she notices. Because when you stop reaching for her approval, you start projecting something far more attractive: emotional independence. Not arrogance, not indifference, independence. Here's the part no one explains clearly. Women don't test men to break them. They test to locate the emotional frame, to see where you stand when pressure is applied. When she pulls back, she's not asking, "Do you like me?" She's asking, "Do you still like yourself without me?" And the answer you give determines everything that follows. Most men fail this test quietly. They increase effort. They send longer messages. They offer reassurance that was never requested. They try to restore the old warmth instead of respecting the new distance. And every one of those actions communicates the same thing. You've lost center, not because you care, but because you've attached your emotional stability to her responses. Women are drawn to men who remain internally calm in emotional ambiguity, because ambiguity is where attraction lives. Certainty feels safe, but safety without tension becomes boredom. When you rush to resolve uncertainty, you kill polarity. When you can sit inside it without flinching, you become magnetic. Think back to the men you've seen who never seem to get played. They're not louder, they're not smoother, they don't perform, they don't chase clarity, they let connection unfold at its own pace. They enjoy the moment without demanding guarantees from the future. And women feel that. They feel the lack of pressure, the absence of emotional hunger, the grounded presence that doesn't need validation to stay standing. Here's the dark psychology most men never consider. A woman can only manipulate emotions that are exposed. If she knows exactly what triggers your insecurity, she has leverage. If she knows you fear abandonment, she can disappear to control your behavior. If she knows you fear silence, she can use it as a weapon. But when your emotional world is full, when your identity doesn't collapse in her absence, there's nothing to exploit. That doesn't mean hiding feelings. It means regulating them, expressing interest without surrendering power, letting her know you enjoy her without making her the source of your worth. That balance is rare, and rarity is attractive. Women don't respect men who tolerate disrespect, not because they're cruel, but because tolerance signals low internal standards. When you accept inconsistency, mixed signals, or emotional neglect, you teach her how to treat you. And once that pattern sets in, attraction decays. Because deep down, she wants to feel chosen by a man who chooses himself first. This is where everything changes. You stop asking, how do I keep her interested? And start asking, does this dynamic honor me? You stop chasing emotional reassurance and start observing behavior. You stop reacting to her moods and start maintaining your own. And slowly, you notice something powerful. She begins adjusting to you. Because women adapt to emotional strength. They lean into men who don't wobble under pressure, who don't chase approval, who don't fear silence. And when she senses that losing you would actually cost her something, not just attention but presence, games lose their appeal. You were never meant to be played. You were meant to be chosen. But choice only exists when you're willing to walk away from dynamics that drain you. The moment you stop fearing loss, you stop being controllable. There's a moment, quiet, almost invisible, when a woman decides how far she can go with you. It's not a conversation. It's not a confrontation. It's an internal calculation made during your silence, your stillness, your response when she tests the edges. And that moment decides whether she respects you or plays you. Most men think attraction is built through pursuit, through proving value, through showing how much they care. But attraction is not built by convincing. It's built by contrast, by the space between your interest and your dependence. When those two collapse into one, desire suffocates. Women don't fear men who love deeply. They fear men who disappear emotionally when they aren't chosen. Because that kind of man isn't choosing her. He's using her to escape himself. And women sense that instantly. That's when affection turns into power. And power invites games. Here's the deeper truth. A woman's behavior toward you reflects how safe she feels being authentic around you. If she senses you'll tolerate emotional inconsistency, she'll express it. If she senses you'll chase when she withdraws, she'll withdraw. Not consciously, instinctively. Attraction follows emotional gravity, and gravity always pulls toward the grounded. Think about the times you've been most attractive in your life. You weren't trying. You weren't watching your phone. You weren't overthinking your words. You were absorbed in your purpose, your direction, your world. And women felt like guests, not lifelines. That's when they leaned in. Because you weren't asking them to complete you. You were inviting them to join you. This is where men misunderstand confidence. It's not bravado, it's not dominance. It's emotional self-sufficiency. The ability to feel desire without desperation, to enjoy connection without attachment to outcome, to walk away without resentment. That energy is unmistakable. And women respond to it whether they want to or not. When you stop chasing emotional certainty, something interesting happens. She starts seeking it from you. She asks questions. She invests. She reveals. Not because you manipulated her, but because you stopped trying to control the dynamic. And control, ironically, is the fastest way to lose influence. A woman will test you when she's uncertain about her own feelings. She'll create distance to see if you panic. She'll provoke jealousy to see if you lose frame. She'll contradict herself to see if you bend. And in those moments, your response teaches her everything. Calm presence signals strength. Reactivity signals weakness. This doesn't mean tolerating disrespect. It means responding with clarity instead of emotion, boundaries instead of arguments, silence instead of explanations. When you withdraw attention from dynamics that don't honor you, you don't punish her. You protect yourself. And that protection is deeply attractive. Most men get played because they're afraid to lose the connection. Strong men don't fear loss. They respect misalignment. They don't beg for clarity. They observe consistency. They don't compete for affection. They allow it to reveal itself. And here's the paradox. The moment you stop trying to secure her, she starts trying to secure you. Because women don't chase men who chase them. They chase men who could leave and would be okay if they did. At some point, every man reaches a crossroads, not with a woman, but with himself. It's the moment you decide whether you'll keep negotiating your worth for attention or stand still and let what truly aligns find you. And women feel that decision before you ever speak it. Once you understand this, you stop taking things personally. Her distance doesn't trigger panic. Her silence doesn't feel like rejection. Her mixed signals don't send you into analysis because you finally see the pattern, how attraction moves, how power shifts, how respect is earned quietly through self-control, not performance. Women don't play men who are emotionally complete. They play men who are seeking completion through them. When you no longer need her validation to feel whole, she no longer has leverage over you, and without leverage, the game ends. This is why emotional discipline is everything, not suppression. Mastery, the ability to feel deeply without leaking insecurity, to desire without attachment, to care without collapse. When you hold that internal balance, your presence changes. Your silence carries weight. Your attention becomes valuable because it's no longer free, it's intentional. A woman can sense when you're choosing her from abundance instead of fear. And that choice feels different. It feels calm. It feels grounded. It feels safe in a way that doesn't kill attraction. Because safety that comes from strength, not dependence, creates trust and desire at the same time. You stop explaining yourself. You stop justifying your boundaries. You stop chasing closure. You let actions speak, and you listen when they do. And if her behavior doesn't align with respect, you don't argue, you disengage, not dramatically, quietly, cleanly, without resentment. That's the part that changes everything. The ability to walk away without anger, to let go without bitterness, to move forward without needing the last word. That emotional composure is rare, and rarity is power. Once you understand this, you don't harden, you refine. You don't become cold, you become centered. You don't lose your heart, you protect it. And women respond to men who protect their inner world, because a man who values his peace commands respect without demanding it. So the next time you feel the pull to chase, pause. The next time you feel the urge to over-explain, breathe. The next time silence feels uncomfortable, stay still, because in that stillness, you reclaim control, not over her, but over yourself. And when you do that, something incredible happens. You stop getting played, not because women change, but because you do. If this opened your eyes, subscribe to Female Code Unlocked. This channel exists to give you clarity where confusion once lived and power where uncertainty used to control you. And remember this, the man who can walk away is the man who never has to beg to stay.